Hey guys, it's Tuesday night and we are live. I'm Rhonda Dracoulis with RK3 Designs and welcome. I'm glad you're here. We'll let a few people jump on here and get settled in. Tonight, I'm kind of excited because we're actually doing a piece that I'm actually going to use. It's actually going to go into a bathroom that we're doing for an apartment that's here on our ranch that we're going to be renting out to students that come take our class. So this is a piece that's actually going to be in the bathroom. It's going to be a small vanity. Now we're also doing shower panels and we're doing a big bar in there as well, and we will bring you YouTube tutorials on those finishes. So, but tonight we're going to do this small vanity. And what we're going to do is a dirty pour. Now, I know it's really kind of hard to do a live that lasts very long when you do a dirty pour, because basically you mix up the colors and you pour it on the top. That's why I don't do a lot of dirty pours on a live, because it's really kind of hard to do anything after you pour it to have any fun. But since this is actually going to be used, that's what we're doing tonight. So let me catch you up on where we are so far. So what I've done is Kenny has built the vanity, and it is a 1.5 inch, it's 3/4 inch MDF Medex plywood, which, I mean not plywood, MDF. So the Medex,
it is Medex.
Yeah, so the Medex is a water-resistant MDF, and that's
What up, guys?
That's what we like to use when we're doing anything that's going to be around water, whether it be a vanity with a sink, around like our kitchen, when we do around the dishwasher and the sink, or even in a bathroom that's going to have a lot of humidity. We always like to use the Medex. So what he did is he created an illusion that the whole vanity is 1.5 inches by creating a edge, which isn't, he added another 3/4 inch of the MDF. So it gives the illusion that this whole piece is one big chunk of rock, is what it's going to hopefully look like when we're done. So what I've done so far, and Kenny, you may want to zoom in on this, is Kenny gave me a rock edge, and he did this with his grinder, and also then we bondoed it, sanded it, so now we've got a rock edge. It's not a real aggressive rock edge. I didn't want anything that was real aggressive. I wanted kind of a soft rock edge. So after he did the bondo, we went and sanded it pretty well. So what I've done up to this point is, because I know that these are the colors that I'm going to be using in the pour, and as that epoxy rolls over the edge, and you guys know, if you've been watching me for a long time, or if you've worked with epoxy yourself a lot, you know that when that epoxy rolls over the edge, that's the thinnest part of the whole pour, is your edges, because the epoxy's rolling down the edge, and therefore it's a very thin layer. So I want to create an illusion on my rock edge that my rock edge is darker than just the white. That's why I colored it with just spray paint. And the color spray paint I used is going to be the same colors that we use in the dirty pour, and I'll show you that in just a minute. All right, so we've already taped around the perimeter. Now this is going to be the only exposed edge. All of the rest of these edges are going to be against a wall, so it's a very, very small vanity. So I already...
What does that have to do with the top?
Huh?
That it's going to be against the walls. That has nothing to do. It could be 15 foot long and be inside the walls.
What I mean is, you're not going to see these edges.
There you go. That's a lot different. And I'm glad y'all like the edge, the front edge.
So it's against the wall, so that's why I've already pre-taped it. So thank you for that correction, my dear.
Just helping you out.
Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how we tape. I know that sounds silly, but there is an art to this, and you want to try to tape it so that you don't get any leaks. Because once you do a dirty pour, you're gonna actually let that epoxy sit on your surface up to maybe even 2 hours. I've done it, depending on the temperature of your environment. The colder it is inside your environment, the longer that you can wait to pull your tape. And the reason that you wait is that you want all of this goodness up here to start to kind of thicken up before it starts rolling over. Now, when I tape, I like to start, first of all, my first layer of tape is going to be where I have a little bit, probably maybe 1/2 inch over the top. And then because it's a rock edge, I'm really going to take my fingers and work that tape down into all
Joe
the
said
crevices.
he uses 3M orange tape.
Yeah.
It sticks better.
Yeah, Joe, I tell you what, there's all kind of tapes that you can use. I don't like to get real expensive tape because that just kind of, like everything else, if I'm using expensive material, it's just cutting into my profit margin. But you're right, it definitely will hold a lot better. I don't know if Sylvia is out there, Holberg. She works for us during our classes. She is the queen of taping our edges. I tell you what, she does it so good, sometimes I can't get it off. Just kidding. All right, so my first edge, my first layer will be an overhang on the top. My second, I'm going to come about halfway down. Now you can use any kind of tape. You can come and you can use a Tyvek tape. You can use the 3M.
Shout out Sylvia.
The 3M tape that Joe was saying. Absolutely 100% that will work. We've had pretty good luck with taping it like this with the blue tape and not getting a lot of, I guess you would call,
I wouldn't use Tyvek tape, though.
Drips. I know some people that use the Tyvek tape. It's really, really sticky. So I'd be kind of worried that it would be kind of hard. Knowing my luck, it'd be hard to get off. Okay, so here we go. Now, you can also, if you wanted to, come in here with a popsicle stick, I don't have one, and kind of burnish that edge. So that way you get a really good seal. Now, what's super important though, guys, this edge, I spray painted it. So you want to make sure that your spray paint is completely dry before you do this, okay? And also, if you do have a spray painted edge, you're going to want to at least use your first layer. You're going to want to use this tape that is sensitive.
I would put another one on here. Just for the dam. It would give
All right,
up
so
high.
we're going to do
I'm just
another
saying.
one. It's going to be one of them nights.
Oh, wow. That's not going to stick, no.
We'll see.
Mm-mm.
I don't think there was any. There was
Yeah.
no epoxy there.
It touched.
Well, we're just going to see. And you know what? If we spring a leak, that's okay.
It's Rhonda's fault.
But, well, it doesn't matter because I use those drips in my design. So if we do spring a leak, that's just bonus material for us. There we go. Are you happy, Kenny?
I guess.
Are you sure? Now, I could do this 100 times without him standing here and it would never leak. And the minute he's going to stand here, it's going to leak. Story of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So let me show you what we've done so far. So that you guys wouldn't have to sit here and wait and watch me mix up the material. I have mixed up my colors. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be using 8 ounces per square inch. Now that's a lot compared to our normal 3 ounces per square foot. Now, why do we use so much more product? Because being a dirty pour, we're not going to be trialing it and moving it and all that stuff. We're going to rely on the actual movement of the epoxy to cover the whole surface of the countertop. So we want quite a bit of material, and that also helps us with the really cool designs that you can get with a dirty pour. Now, that's another reason that we tape our edges, because if I were to pour 8 ounces per square foot on a vanity, excuse me, and we didn't tape our edges, because the epoxy is trying to self-level, and it's trying to get to where it's about 1/8 of an inch. That's what it tries to self-level to. All of that material that we would have put on here, all of those 8 ounces per square foot, are going to actually roll off and end up on our table. So that's why we dam it up and we force that material to stay on the surface until it starts to gel and until it starts to get really thick. Then, like I said, an hour, 2 hours, depending on your temperature, when we pull the tape, now because our epoxy has started to really get thick, it's gonna roll over the edges, but it's not gonna keep trying to self-level as quickly as it would if it were very fresh and we pulled that tape. So depending on your temperature, and your temperature should be at least 70 degrees or above. Now I know that's really hard for some of you guys right now because you're up in the environment where, I mean, it's in the 20s and or even below that. And so you guys are having a hard time keeping your environment warm enough to pour epoxy. And I'm going to tell you, epoxy doesn't care. It does not care what your situation is. Epoxy is designed to be poured in a parameter of circumstances, meaning it needs to be 70 or above. If you try to pour when it's cooler than that, you may be able to get it to lay out and get a really pretty finish, but what's going to happen is your epoxy is going to get what we call a soft cure. It's never going to get as hard and cure as hard as optimal case being if you were inside those parameters, meaning you may always have divots where you can, push your fingernail in, and it's always going to be a little bit soft. So it's super important that you keep that temperature above 70 during the pouring process and 24 hours minimum after you pour as that epoxy is starting to cure. So that's super important, guys. I get calls every day now. People telling me their epoxy is just still sticky and it's been 36 hours and they just don't understand why it's not curing and why it still feels tacky. And when I ask them, what's your temperature, they're 50, 55, 60, and so that's the issue. Okay, so enough on that. All right, so let me go through the colors with you guys. So we're using white opaque dye, Alumilite white opaque dye. We're using white mica powder, okay, also available on the site, and I've mixed it so it's opaque, meaning you cannot see through it. It's very opaque. Then we're coming in with silver metallic, same thing, nice and opaque. This is also a mica powder. And then I wanted just a little bit of warmth with my dark bronze. So I've actually picked these colors because I'm going to be putting up a shower curtain. Now this apartment is very rustic, very rustic. The cabinets are all pine, and I've burnt them so it gives that grain pops out. It's very, very rustic. So I want that rustic vibe. So that's kind of why I'm going with these colors. All right, so now I'm going to tint these cups with spray paint. Now, when you start mixing your mediums, meaning I'm using a dye, I'm using mica powders, I'm using spray paints, when you start mixing all of those different types of mediums, you get a lot of, I guess, fighting amongst them, and that's what gives us the really cool designs. So instead of using all mica powders or all spray paints, if you mix it up and have a variety of them, you'll really get some cool designs. All right, so I'm going to come in with khaki. Now, let me grab a. All right, so when you do this, when you work with these spray paints, guys, protect yourself, okay? I'm not worried about my epoxy because I'm using Stone Coat Countertop, which is 0 VOCs, no solvents, all solids. So, and we have a very large area with very good circulation and airflow. But your spray paints, you want to be careful and protect yourself. So I'm gonna cover it with a paper towel. This is khaki, and I'm just gonna. Now, you don't want to get so much of that color in there that you make your epoxy really runny. So you'll never really be able to get as an opaque color as you could with a mica or a dye. So that's pretty good. That's pretty opaque. And you can see it's really not too runny. All right, you really want to make sure that you don't get too much paint in there and cause it to be very thin. All right, this is charcoal gray. You can kind of show them that before I stir it about how much is in there. I don't know where my sticks went. Yeah, I don't know. Again, we don't want to get it too. Now you can kind of see how that's sort of transparent in there. It's not going to be near as transparent as the mica powder. Okay, so this is our mica powder and this is our spray paint. All right, then our last one is going to be winter gray, which I really like winter gray. It almost has like a hint of a blue color. I'll make that a little bit darker, I think. That's not too bad. Maybe just a little bit more. All right. Okay. So there's our colors. Now, in between our layers, I'm going to spritz just a little bit of color. All right. So what I'm going to do...
What about the clear?
The clear. All right.
Clear spray paint.
Oh, I don't have any. So sometimes I use clear spray paint. It's fine. It's fine. I didn't do it on my sample board.
So? And
I'll actually put the clear spray paint in between the layers, and sometimes that kind of causes some really cool. Kenny's telling me we have some.
Right there at the bottom.
That's matte. These are matte. That's all right. We'll use a little bit of matte. I normally don't use matte spray paint, but it's just going to be a little bit, and it'll kind of cause some neat little designs. Okay. All right. So what I've done, I left a little bit of the epoxy, the clear epoxy, in my bucket, and I've turned it upside down. And the reason I do that is I'm going to do what we call a grease coat.
What did you used to call it?
I used to call it lubing the board. Erica, put a stop to that real quick. Okay, so you can use anything to spread this, a Bondo spreader, whatever you want, and it's not super important that it be thick at all. You just want to kind of run it up next to your edges. And like I said, all this is doing is just kind of helping that epoxy when we get ready to pour it. it's going to help it just to flow a little easier. You don't have to use clear. If you have, you'll see we'll have color left in our cups, and I can just dump those colors from the cup upside down and use that as well. So it's pretty warm in here right now, but we are fixing to get slammed. I think starting tomorrow, and I think Thursday.
It's not even going to be that bad.
It's going to be low of 25.
Ron, there's people out there that are negative that.
Yeah, that ain't me. I am South Texas girl all the way. Ain't about all that.
Mean anything.
No. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Not about all that noise. Down here in Texas, we're not used to that. It's different if you're used to that. Guys, I'm going to give you a pro tip, too. When I'm doing a pour, right before I get started, I'll take some paper towels, those little ones where you can make the little size, and I'll spray them with alcohol and kind of soak them with alcohol and just kind of put them off to the side. And that way, when I need to wipe my hands, I have it, and I'm not having to grab my alcohol bottle and make my alcohol bottle sticky. So if you'll kind of pre-wet some of those, it'll save you. Okay, so now let's start adding it to the bucket. All right, Kenny. So I think we're just going to go 3. Now, guys, this is where it is kind of a free-for-all. I'm going to do, instead of doing all in one bucket, I'm going to do 3 separate buckets.
Why?
Well, it gives me a little bit more of design options. I can control the pour a little bit better. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer these a little differently. So I'm going to do white here. I'm going to do white here. You know what? Instead of this big bucket, yeah, I'll do, I'll do a little bit of white there.
Oh, wow.
All right.
There goes all the white.
Yeah, so now we can start. Well, I wanted white to be in the bottom. All right, so this is my silver.
So make sure you tell them that think about the colors.
Yeah, so think about the colors that you're going to be putting next to each other.
And then start to finish.
Why don't you tell them? You're doing a good job right now. Why don't you tell them? How about that? Well,
all right, just make sure when you're doing the colors that you know the first ones you put in are going to be the last ones that come out. So you want to make sure just to kind of think about it a little bit, and that'll help you out.
Yeah, I got a new can of paint. All right, yes, exactly. So as you start layering these colors, just kind of in the back of your mind, think about what colors you want next to each other. All right, this is the khaki. And I'm just going to start grabbing some colors. This is the white. I'm going to put white next to white here. Now, a lot of times I'll have a bucket.
That was a fun fact, not a pro tip.
That was a fun fact?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of times I'll have light colored buckets of paint, and then I'll have dark color buckets of paint. This one I'm really going to kind of just go for it. And
so are you going to make circles or are you going to make it straight lines?
On the, what do you mean?
On your pour.
I'm going to do a striation.
You're doing circles in the buckets, I just noticed.
Well, it's not going to affect how I lay it out on the surface.
I was just wondering.
So what I'm going to do is when I do lay it out on the surface, there's so many different ways that you can lay out or pour from your bucket onto your surface. And I'm going to pour today in kind of a striation because I want it to look like a slab of rock. Now, I know Stacy Franklin with Artisan Design Concepts, she does a ton of dirty pours, and she does a lot of pours where she'll kind of make it look like a geode, and it's absolutely gorgeous. But what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of keep it in a striation type of a pattern and see how I like it. Okay, babe, I'm going to add this clear spray paint just for you.
Thank you.
Clear, clear, clear. All right.
What about spray paint?
Yep, I'm going to add, let's add a little bit of gray. White. Now, what you guys need to understand, you may pour 10 different dirty pours with the exact same color, the exact same ratio, and you're going to get a different finish every time. Now, you can really practice to where you...
Claire said put more clear.
Put more clear. Okay, I want a minute, Claire. Claire, I'll put more clear. How about that? So you can practice to where you've got it down to a fine science as far as how you add your paints, but you need to understand
spray paint.
That you are going to get a different look each time you do this. Uh-oh. Now, if this messes up, it's all because of him. Your fault, Kenny.
I never mess anything up.
Dracoulis. You've never messed up anything in your life?
I'm that good.
Oh, my gosh. Well, you heard it straight from the horse's ass. Oh, I meant mouth. I'm going to get in trouble now because I said a bad word.
I'd put more clear.
You'd put more clear? All right, well, let's get the clear. Where's the clear?
Right here.
All right, let's put some more clear. You ever have one of those days where you've got a nerve exposed and someone's on it the entire day? Don't know if y'all have ever had that experience. All right, so see, I've got a little bit of gray left in here. I'm just going to turn it upside down. And now I don't know if y'all noticed, but I've put more of the dark bronze in this middle bucket than I've put in any of the other buckets. So it's going to be a little darker than the rest of them. This is the silver. Put the silver over here. And I'll dump it out. All right, where's my white? All right, so when you use white spray paint, you're going to notice something, and I've only noticed it happening with the white, is when you hit with a torch, you're going to see some little white specks pop up. And like I said,
how about some likes up there?
Some likes?
Yeah.
I don't think this is... Oh, yeah, I guess they can.
They can like it.
Yeah, that's right. I was thinking this was Facebook. But what'll happen is you'll get...
Woohoo! Look at that. Love it.
Are you going to let me finish my sentence?
Go ahead. Sorry. Chetty Cathy. They gave us some likes there.
Oh, well, good.
You want me to scare Rhonda?
Don't scare me. How are you gonna scare me?
Ah!
You're so dumb. So dumb. Remember that nerve I was talking about, guys? Yeah. He's been on it all day long. Okay, so you want me to put clear. All right, here, clear. All right. So, here we go. Let's take... Now, remember how I told you it doesn't matter what the color is that you grease your board with? You're fixing to see I'm fixing to make a mess. All right, I'm just going to take that. Rub it out. All right.
Love it.
There we go. Now I'm not worried about any pattern that may be on there because we're going to have so much material that you won't see any of this. All right, so I'm going to torch it lightly. Before I grab my torch, I'm going to wipe my hand down. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to kind of look at, I can tell my epoxy is starting to get a little bit warm because I mixed this up about 15 minutes prior.
Look at that. Hold on. Let's see it. Ooh la la.
All right. Now, I don't always want to start at the same end. And then I also kind of want to start watching my colors as they come out of the bucket and pay attention that I alternate where I lay them down. Now, can you kind of see how I'm really not doing exact perfect striations? I'm really kind of moving it. I'm going to start from this side. It's easier if you drag it instead of pouring it out of the bucket and going this way, and I'll show you the difference. It seems to not go as smoothly when I push it instead of pulling it toward me. Now this was the bucket that had the darker colors in it. So I'm going to kind of give some space. I don't want a lot of that dark color together.
Look at that.
Look at this color. Isn't that pretty? That's real pretty.
Put that right there.
Now I'm gonna come in here. Now see, now I've got some light color. So now I'm gonna start kind of paying attention. Now see how it's starting to give me this little ripple effect? That's what happens when you push the bucket. When you push it, you kind of get this little rainbow effect right here, okay? So I kind of want that. So I'm gonna hang on to that for just a minute. I'm gonna bring in this other color. Now I've got a really big void here. So I'm gonna go here, start kind of filling this void, and then go light here. I'll come right here. Kind of run it. All right. So, ooh, wow, yeah, I'm liking this. Okay, I'm going to come back with this light color between these two dark. I don't know if y'all do like me. I don't know why I do it. I hold my breath when I'm pouring it. I find myself holding my breath. I don't know why I do that. Now I'm getting really light lines because I'm getting down to the bottom of the bucket. Now I can start getting detailed and going in between my colors and getting a thin line. All right, I'm just going to kind of start looking at where I have voids still. And I had a little bit of light color in here. So this is why it's good to do in separate buckets, because you can kind of change up and have a little bit more control over how you're pouring it. All right. All right, that's cool. Look at this middle ribbon right here. Now that is gorgeous. So guys, I don't care how many times that I do this dirty pour or a dirty pour. I'm always so excited when I see how it comes out, because in my opinion, guys, you just can't get this look any other way to get that real rock look than with a dirty pour. I love this. Now, I'm going to tilt a little bit, not a lot. Now, I had a little bit left in my bucket because what I did is actually round it up on my measurement, knowing that I probably wasn't going to use every bit of it. You don't want to get so much.
How many ounces did you use?
I'm sorry?
How many ounces
did you use? I used 8 ounces per square foot, and I ended up with about 4 ounces left, all right? So I could have been a little more conservative on that. And I could pour the rest of that on there, but remember, the more material I put on, the longer I'm going to have to kind of keep my edges taped, or when I pour, the more of that pattern's going to come off, and this pattern's going to stretch out. So if you want to actually have your dirty pour stretch and really thin out the pattern, use 6 ounces per square foot. Don't use your 8 ounces per square foot. Then you can actually tilt it. Like I'm going to tilt just a tiny bit because I wanted to get some of that onto the rock edge. You can tilt it, and then that pattern won't stay tight. It'll spread open, and you'll get more of a soft pattern that kind of stretches. Now this is going to be more of a detailed pattern because I'm going to keep it taped for quite a while, and I used quite a bit of material. So I'm going to heat it just a little bit, get all those bubbles out of there. I think I have a little booger or something in there right there. Now I was trying to see if I could get those white specks to pop up like we talked about. Come show in here, Kenny. So right in here, see those little white specks? That's what you get when you use white spray paint. Now, if I were to use more white spray paint, you would have more of those specks. So I really like this. Now, what we're going to end up doing is cutting this out.
There's something there.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm going to...
Oops.
Well, I wasn't going to stick my whole finger in there, but...
Well, I didn't mean to. I was trying to look at the camera and...
Hold on, let me get this out. I'm not sure what that was. Some little booger. Oh, so what I was going to say is, so we're going to have a sink cut out in here, and I'm looking for a kind of a coppery bronze sink. So I want to stick with that theme of kind of the darker metal. So I think that's going to be really good contrast against there. But you could even go with a stainless. You can even go with a white sink with these colors. But I'm hoping I'm going to be able to find that hammered copper sink like I kind of envisioned in my mind. All right, so you go around to the front. So I just kind of make sure and check and make sure I have plenty of material starting to come up to the edge so that when I pull this tape, I'm going to have plenty of that material to go over that rock edge. And because I pre-painted my rock edge, it's going to have some of those colors shining up, kind of peeky-booing up through this epoxy, and it's going to look really cool. All right, so now you can see why I don't do a lot of dirty pours on lives, because it just goes so quickly. Excuse me.
Well, we've been 39 minutes, though.
Yeah, well, that's true. All right. Now, like I said, if you wanted a more softer pattern, meaning you want to use the same colors, but you don't want to have such hard contrasting lines, use less material, 6 ounces per square foot. That way, when you lay your pattern down, your epoxy has more room to spread out. Therefore, it's going to stretch out the pattern and become very, very soft in a beautiful pattern. So I do that a lot also, is I won't use as much material, and it softens my colors. Okay, so do we have any questions, Kenny? Are you able to read any of those questions?
Not really.
Okay, I'm sure the girls. So I think Erica tonight is actually on vacation. I think she's on a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so everyone be jealous. I'm jealous. All right, so a couple announcements while this is kind of sitting there. We're not going to pull the tape on the live, obviously, tonight because I'll probably wait a couple of hours before I pull this. But I will show you guys pictures on my Facebook
big thanks
page
to
tomorrow.
Vamp and
Yes,
Claire.
big thanks. Vamp and Claire, thank you guys so much. I cannot do this without you guys. All right, so a couple announcements. We are running a special for our classes for the month of February. So it'll be 10% off any of our classes of 2022. And we're getting ready to release the second half of our class schedule. Guys, already our February class is sold out. Our pro class just starts next week. It's sold out. I think I have one spot left in our April pro class. So our next pro class will be in June. In between that, we've got our 101 and our Master's DIY class, which is our 101 is a 2-day class, and our Master's class is a 3-day class. So the Master's class is a really good class if you're looking at wanting to learn the epoxy and learn fabrication of the countertops, but you just don't need the business portion, which is the contracts, the pricing, and all that stuff like we go into at our pro class. So our DIY class is a 3-day class, very detailed and very involved. Our 101 class is our 2-day class, which is where we teach you just epoxy. We don't go into the fabricating of the countertops, but we still give you tons and tons of information with the epoxy. And in all of those classes, you're going to be creating your own sample boards. You'll be doing between 8 and 9 sample boards that are yours to keep. Plus, we do 5 or 6 big group boards where everybody gets to join in. So all of our classes are really packed with information. We give you guys 110% of our time, and we don't let you leave here with any questions unanswered. So we even feed you. Leslie is a phenomenal cook, and she actually cooks for you guys. So it's awesome. Okay, so what we're doing also for the apartment is we're working on some showers, and we have built these showers out of insulation board. And I know a ton of you guys ask me all the time about how do you do showers. So the next video that's coming out, it's going to be a series of videos, and the first one coming out this week is going to be with Kenny showing you guys how he fabricated and got ready to pour, which is where we're at right now. We're ready to do a pour on these boards, and Kenny's going to show you in a minute. But that's what the video is going to be about this week. And then part 2 will be our actual pouring and installing. So Kenny, you want to take them over there and kind of let them see what's going on? Has anybody, let me know in the comments, has anybody done a shower?
So we have 2 sets of showers. So we have a set of showers here, and then we got these right here. So you can see, well, just to show you, like this is going to be a smooth edge. We've glued. I hope your hands are clean.
They are. I just cleaned them.
I will.
What?
Smack you.
You smack me, huh?
So we have wood on the front of this, so that way it'll be smooth.
Give me your phone. I'll start reading questions.
And so we added this on here. That way we have a nice rounded edge, so when we pour the epoxy, it'll be nice and smooth right there. And also you can see that I embedded a 1x4 for the shower, for the glass doors. And then that's for that. But on these, we just went ahead and just did a rock edge.
And then we just show them that we just put a little small board.
And then I put a small board. Well, you can't see it right now, but the small board is, I don't even know where it's at anymore. It's somewhere right in here.
And that's because we're not going to be using a glass door.
We're just going to do a shower curtain.
Do a shower curtain. So we needed some bracing for the shower rods.
Well, you know why there's not one here? Because it's not on that panel.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yes, there is. Yeah, it's somewhere right
in here. So.
But you could see we did a nice rock edge on this also.
No, Keith, we're not going to be pouring those. Actually, we have to get them installed.
Well, this one will be done by the time you get here.
Yeah, it'll be here be done by the time you get here, Keith, because this actually has to be installed because we have the apartment rented out. So we have to have the shower done before they get here next week. So I'm looking at questions.
So you could see.
All right.
It's just 1-inch foam.
All righty. So, like I said, that video will be released by the end of the week. And it'll take from Kenny actually templating, cutting, and fitting the shower to us preparing the surface with the fiberglass mesh and pouring the first layer of epoxy and then painting it and getting it to the point it is right here. So all of this is going to be edited now, and then part 2 will be us actually pouring the epoxy and doing the install. So
what about the UTC stock? People are asking.
Guys, I don't know what to tell y'all. I talked to Mike, and there is actually a shortage of urethane worldwide. So Stone Coat Countertop is not the only one that's feeling the supply chain shortage. I'm not sure when we're going to have any of the UTC back in stock, but I will tell you this. You can always go back and apply the UTC. So if you have a job that you need to get done, either for yourself or for a client, if you educate your client and tell them what's going on, hey, you know, we can install this, and then we can come back once the UTC is back in stock, we can come and apply it then. So it's you know, I know it's super, super inconvenient right now. I mean, we've got a ton of jobs that we're kind of stuck as far as not being able to put the UTC on, but what we'll do is we'll install, we'll go back and we'll just apply the UTC in place. And since it dries overnight and you can use it in a day or so, depending on the temperature, again, it's not that big an issue to go back and do it in on site. So the best thing I can tell you guys, sign up for our newsletter, and as soon as I get that UTC in, I'm going to release a newsletter, and that way you guys will know that I have it back in stock. I have 100 bottles coming, guys. So first come, first serve, and I mean, they know that I need it very quickly. So it's going to be a process getting it back in stock, but until then, just keep on pouring. All righty, any other questions?
I don't know, you have the phone.
Oh yeah, I've got the phone. Yep. Where is the UTC made? At the manufacturers for Stone Coat. I have no idea where it's made. All right. All right, good, Jason. You explained it. That's awesome. Okay. All righty, guys. Well, I guess that's going to be it. I'm going to hang out in the shop for a couple hours, and we'll pull the tape. I'll do a little quick video. I'll post it on Facebook tomorrow of us pulling the tape, and that way you can kind of see what it looks like in a couple of hours. All right, guys. So next week, very important, we're not going to be doing a live because our class is going to start Wednesday morning, and it's really hard for us to, especially in these big pro classes, it's really hard for me to do a live the night before and then try to get everything cleaned up and ready for our class to start the next morning. So next week, we'll not have a live, but we will probably go live quite a few times during the week on Facebook. Not necessarily YouTube, but we'll probably jump on and do quite a bit of lives on Facebook. So make sure you go and like our RK3 Designs Facebook page, and then you'll get notifications. Okay, I guess that's it. So until next week on Facebook Lives, y'all remember.
You want to show them one more time?
You want to show them? Okay. Yep, I was just fixing to give my farewell speech,
yeah.
But we will show them. And Mary Sorrells, yeah, I'm going to look on Amazon. I'm just hoping they'll be able to get me that sink fast
But
enough.
look how pretty this turned out, guys.
Isn't that pretty? If you were to go buy a slab of stone, there is no
gorgeous.
telling how much you would pay for this.
Thanks for all the likes, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And guys, hey, we would love to see you in some classes. We would. I'm so excited. This is our first class of 2022 in February. We took the month of January. Well, we didn't take it off, but we didn't have a class. So I'm super excited to start getting back into the swing of having our classes every month. So check out our website, rk3designs.com, and every class has its own page. And every class is very detailed about what you'll get if you come to the class. So go check it out. All right, guys. I guess this is it. Until we meet again. Remember, guys, don't be scared. Don't be scared to do all this stuff. Just get out and do it. And move forward. Just if you hit a wall, just keep moving forward. And what is it? Don't move forward. Had a brain fart.
Wow.
Don't be scared. Move forward and be creative.
Okay. Just don't try to go off to make it sound all impressive there, Einstein. Just say it one time and
don't be scared. Move forward and be creative. How about that? All right.
How about that? You did it right.
All right, guys. Love y'all. I'll see y'all next week on Facebook. All right.
Adios.
Bye.